Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Save a Library podcast. I am your host, Alex, and this week I am joined by Adult Services librarian Peter. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
And Tech Services ordinaire, Sean.
Ordinaire? What's going on?
So on this episode, we're going to be talking about our media tracking apps and how it affects our reading or watching habits or listening habits, whatever, depending on what app we're talking about. If listeners, you're not familiar with what a media tracking app is,
you're about to find out.
Because we're going to be talking about it at length. But basically, they're just apps like Goodreads and Letterboxd and some other ones we'll talk about here that you can use to track what you're reading and watching. And then some of them have social aspects involved as well that we can talk about, or review features and things like that. But we'll get into all of that right now. So why don't we just do like a quick around the table what apps we actually are using.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start off. I use Letterboxd primarily to track my movies because I watch a ton of movies. Mm-hmm. And I use Storygraph to track my reading, which is a competitor to Goodreads, so not many people know about it. And that's basically it. I also use Discogs, sort of, but I'll let Peter take Discogs because I know you're the Discogs aficionado. So Peter, do you want to go
Sure.
next?
Yeah, I have used other ones, but currently, right now, I'm using Discogs. Everything I ever buy is on there, and I use that one religiously. I also use Goodreads and Letterboxd.
Nice. What about you, Sean?
I use Letterboxd because I watch, also like you, a ridiculous amount of movies. Goodreads, Discogs, and would you count like Spotify Wrapped? Like, I mean, it's not like a tracking, but it's kind of like, I think it's a cool thing you can kind of see at the end of the year, like what you listen to.
Spotify's not a media tracking app, but the Wrapped things that you're talking about are pretty interesting. Almost every app now, it seems like, is doing some form of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting kind of statistics that you get it to kind of summarize your year.
For sure.
Which is very interesting. Letterboxd started doing it too, which
I love.
Like, I love it, but I also am like sickened by it because it's like, this is how many movies you watch this year. Like, I'm a weirdo.
Oh yeah, me too.
So we got a nice palette of apps we can talk about here. I think we covered like what they all do, right? So do you use any of these apps like socially, like as like a form of social media at all, or is it mostly just for tracking your own habits?
I mean, I follow my friends on both of them. I mean, working here, most people use Goodreads, so I feel like I'm friends with pretty much everyone that works here that's on there. And I think that aspect of it's really cool because I find out about so many books that I would have never even heard of or read without having it. And then Letterboxd, I follow people on there and they follow me, like friends of mine and stuff, but I feel like that's more kind of just like for myself. And like I will write reviews sometimes, but usually it's just kind of like for me to see like what I've watched throughout the year.
All right. What about you, Peter?
Goodreads is a little bit social for me. Like Sean said, a lot of people here are on it, so I'll interact with people a little bit, and a lot of people I know who don't live around here are on it. So I'll interact with people from back home a little bit on there. As far as the other apps, I don't really use them socially. I don't tend to comment on anything on Discogs. I do get messages every now and then on Discogs from people about items I have or whatever. Yeah. So a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, I don't use any of the social features on any of them, really. I mean, I use Letterboxd every day almost because I'm logging things. But yeah, I mean, I check people's reviews occasionally just to see what people are thinking. I follow, like Sean, I follow you, Peter, on it. But yeah, Letterboxd is a little different because most reviews are like one or two sentences anyways. You're not getting anyone's like deep thoughts on a movie or anything. It's more just seeing like what other people are interested in. And I mean, I admittedly watch more movies than anyone else, so it probably works in reverse. Like people are probably getting ideas of what to watch based on what I'm seeing, I would think. Than the other way around.
If I'm looking I want to watch a movie and I don't know what to watch, I always look at Alex's Letterboxd to see, like, what does Alex watch?
Literally,
he's seen pretty much everything.
It's literally every day I'll go on there and be like, oh, yeah, here's another movie by him. And then it's something that you'll rate 4.5 stars, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm probably gonna
skip
hate
that.
it. It's always the way. Everything he loves, I hate.
We're canceling each other out on, on
we
Letterboxd rating scores.
Oh, for sure.
And then Storygraph, which again is for reading, which is like the Goodreads competitor, it does... I don't think it even has any social aspect part of it, which is part of why I am using it. I think the only person I'm following is my wife, if she's even still using it anymore. But like the social part of it is like not a key feature of Storygraph. So yeah.
What do you think like the main difference is between that and Goodreads?
So Storygraph, it has very little to no like reviews or social parts of it too, which is it's very streamlined. It's kind of more like Letterboxd, minus the review part of it. So it's very like heavy on statistics. So every book, it's broken down by, page length, genres, subgenres, all kinds of, how fast of a read it is. All kinds of stuff. It has just so much statistics that it breaks down on. So the big selling point of Storygraph is you can kind of track your habits of reading and see like, okay, it will tell you based on your reading habits, like, okay, you prefer nonfiction that's between 300 and 400 pages that's about these topics. So these are some books I can recommend you. Or it'll be like, you like fiction that's, cozy fiction that's set in like... Europe and like whatever that's set during this time period. So here are some recommendations for you. So it's interesting to kind of get like some like very detailed feedback on your reading habits.
That's interesting because normally with most tracking apps, that's what I'm looking for. But with Goodreads, I actually do get a lot of recommendations. There are certain people I know who work here that I really trust there. I know have similar taste in books to me. So I get a lot of... add a lot of books to my reading list from there. Definitely. But for like music and especially music, I'm not looking for that at all. It's more
your taste.
And like an OCD tracking thing and buying.
Sure.
And like to your point, like I feel like Goodreads sometimes is like very trendy. So I feel like if I'm trying to find a new book to read, it's everyone's reading the same thing right now because it's just like the new trendy like hot book. So I feel like sometimes it's hard to find something like on your app, Alex, like that sounds really cool because you're getting it exposed to a lot of different things, not just like what's popular right now. With like
it does
the
kind
masses.
of have like a siloing effect a little bit if you're following their recommendations, where it's kind of just feeding you stuff back that's like related to what you're already reading. But for reading, I'm not really looking for recommendations from anyone, including people I work with, because the books I'm reading are usually... I have my authors that I like. I have my tastes that have been developed over decades now that I know what I pretty much like. And anything else outside of that I'm reading, I'm finding recommendations from the journals, like the book journals that we have to read. I'm finding stuff there that looks interesting. Or I'm reading for a podcast that we're doing. So if we have like a topic coming up, I'll be like, okay, I should read some books on this topic or something.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say what Sean was saying about sometimes you'll see... a book that pops up over and over, and I find that Goodreads in some ways makes me not read certain books because if I see it enough time, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't read popular fiction, so the social aspect of Goodreads kind of turns me off because at some point it kind of just becomes like spam, like I'm just seeing the same stuff over and over.
I definitely feel like I have read like certain books before just because a lot of people I know are also reading them, so I kind of want to be like in on it, and like I'll read the book and I'd be like, this is what everyone loves. I'm like, this was meh.
That's what I think. Letterboxd has the perfect amount of social aspect of any of the apps. I really like the way Letterboxd does it, where it's not in your face. Like when you open up the app, it's showing you like what's popular in the world, what's new, and then it'll show like your people that you follow is like most recently watched movie, but that's like half of the screen, all of that information. So it's not like bombarding you with like ads and reviews and stuff like that I just do not care about at all. So and then Letterboxd, like if I do want to know what somebody's thoughts are or read reviews, like I have to go into the movie and then scroll down to find it. It's not like right in your face.
Yeah.
And I just like Letterboxd. It just has a very clean aesthetic.
It does.
So like I like how clean it is.
It does.
There's definitely way too much on Goodreads. That's, what is it,
Storygraph.
I thought about switching to that when you told me about it a while back, but it was, I have to have all my old lists. And
you can import your lists.
Yeah, and the other thing was just the people that I, wouldn't be. There's a very small group of people whose I feel like I have similar tastes to. So if I could get those 3 people to move, then I might consider it.
Yeah, I when I do get recommendations, I get them kind of more naturally, just from sitting next to Peter. He'll recommend me a sci-fi book, and oh, that sounds interesting. I don't need to see every single book everyone's reading. So we talked about the social start of it. Do you use any of these apps to write reviews? I know Sean occasionally will write something on Letterboxd, but what about on Goodreads? Do you actually go and write a review?
Not a proper review. It'll maybe just be
snarky
one
comment.
Oh, yes, I have definitely done that before. Or maybe just a 1 to 2 line thing, just kind of a brief sum up. I have some friends that write a lot, and they'll write they'll give it 4 out of 5 stars, but it was actually a 3.95, and I'm no one cares that it was actually a 3.95. It's fine. But, I kind of I'll write something. I think if I think of something snarky to write, then that kind of takes the cake.
Yeah. That's another thing I didn't like about Goodreads is you can only do whole stars. You can't do half stars. Storygraph, you can do quarter stars.
Oh, pardon me. Quarter stars.
I wish you could do quarter stars in Letterboxd too, but
maybe they will one day.
What about you, Peter? Do you ever write reviews?
On Goodreads, I do sometimes write reviews. Nowhere else, really. Occasionally on Discogs, but usually I'll write a few sentences on Goodreads. I used to write a lot more, but I'm much more likely to write. Sometimes I'll write a paragraph or two if it's a book that I have a lot to say about.
Yeah.
But in the past, I was more likely to do that. Now, sometimes I'll be reading a book and I'll think, oh, I should write this on Goodreads. And then when I go to log in on Goodreads, I'm like, nah, I'm just going to do the star rating.
Yeah, I don't write any reviews for any of them, Storygraph or Letterboxd. And I don't know if I should or not. Because I just don't know. I mostly use these apps because, well, at least for Letterboxd, because I watch such a high volume of movies. When I go back to make a recommendation for someone or do something for the podcast, I just look at the star, what star rating I gave it, and that will kind of trigger. Oh yeah, I like this movie because, and then it'll come back to me. But I think I just watch too many movies to have time to compose thoughts about it. I just keep going forward. And then books, I usually talk about them on a podcast, so I'll have them in a Google Doc. I don't feel like I need to share that with everyone in the world on an app.
For sure.
So are there any other features for any of these media tracking apps that you like to use?
I could say there's an older website. I don't even know if they have an app, but it's called Rate Your Music, which I used to use. Even Discogs existed back then, but I liked the layout. But the reason I switched to Discogs was because it's also a store. So it's the best place to buy vintage vinyl basically anywhere. So I ended up, my want list, I can click on it, and if someone's selling it, I can buy it. So instead of having to go
to another,
that's one thing that Discogs has that most of them don't, is it's also a marketplace.
Yeah, that's unique to Discogs as far as I can tell. Mm-hmm. There's no movie equivalent.
No. It wasn't like that initially. I've been on it since its inception, actually. Wow. And it was originally just for electronic music. And if you tried to submit something that wasn't electronic, it would get rejected. Mm-hmm. And I early on, added some stuff that I had that.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My dad has a Discogs account he's had for decades, it seemed decades, I guess, at this point. And I didn't realize it started with that, because he would be buying rare Frank Zappa or Miles Davis albums from Japan or something, and be where do you find this? Discogs.
Yeah, I joined Discogs last year, and it is cool to see how much everything you own is worth, depending on if you would sell it not the regular price, or at the however much it's going for at the highest price. And I just think it's cool. I didn't know
a high median.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could write reviews on there though.
Yeah, you can. It's not something that it's not a big part of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
If you look at the bottom of the record for the item, sometimes there'll be, for something popular at Billie Eilish, I'm sure there are like
A bunch
of them on there.
Okay, cool.
But it's not a lot of times the review or comment thing that you can do like a star rating, but a lot of times it's more like, if anyone has this,
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I want to buy it.
But Discogs is very granular with its stats too. Like there will be a separate listing for like the German pressing and like the whatever.
It's
like,
more than that. Yeah, I mean, it's like where it was pressed. I used to get really into creating. Now when I have something that's not on there, I'm annoyed because I'm like, I have like 3 or 4 things right now that aren't on Discogs, and I'm just hoping someone else will do it. But eventually, if they don't,
You'll have to do some
But yeah,
catalog.
you can get down to like, there's like, if you look at a CD, there's like code on the little middle part that has something to do with the pressing plant, and on vinyl there's etching. It tells you, so it gets down to even the specific pressing, not just like, the first pressing that was like what pressing plant it was pressed at. So
That's cool.
That's crazy.
I wish
you can really get into some fights on it, though, because it's like a Wikipedia where people will say, no, you changed this genre, this doesn't fit. Like, so
it's all
I kind
it's
of
like publicly curated, right?
yeah, it's publicly curated. So I've kind of removed myself from the arguments because record nerds can be are a very particular type of very particular people.
So Storygraph, I believe, is also publicly curated because I found many times when I'm trying to log a book, I won't find it, or it'll have a weird cover, or some information might be wrong. So I've been editing some posts myself there, so it's interesting. I think
Goodreads can be too. I'm a Goodreads librarian. I could add things to Goodreads. I just don't do it very often, but because for me, like on Discogs, it makes more sense to me because it's also a marketplace. So a lot of times you're looking for, specific versions of albums are worth a lot more than others. So you need to know that you're getting the one
exactly
but
what
like
you want.
for
Yeah.
Goodreads, it doesn't matter that much to me. So I don't really do much with it.
What about you, Sean? Are there any like features that you use on any of these apps?
No, I kind of just like friending people, seeing what other people are reading or watching. Discogs, it's mainly just to log like everything that I have.
What about lists? Do you ever use the lists?
Like on Letterboxd, I make a list of like my like favorite movies that I've like ever seen, and I'll put them on. And then starting in 2023, I just made like a list of like 2023 films that I saw, 2024 films, and so on. So that is cool though, because I get to see like how many movies this year that I watched that actually came out this year versus overall. Like last year, I only watched like I think 38 movies that came out in 2024, and I watched a lot more than that. So it's kind of cool to see like what's going what's going on like in the current climate of films.
I'm a big list user.
I know.
Letterboxd. I think I have like 80 or 90 lists or something.
Oh my god!
But most of them are private. And it's mostly just to keep track of, things to watch or whatever. I have like a bunch of lists I'm like actively working on, like checking off movies. And then once I finish the list, then I'll publish it. So like, for instance, I'm currently working on like a best of the 70s or like top 70 of the 70s. So I've seen like hundreds of movies in the 70s, but there's like 10 movies that I know are, critically acclaimed that I need to see. So I'll keep that list private until I finally get to watch those movies, and then I can make my definitive list. So I have like one for the 70s, one for the 80s, one for the 90s, and then like the British Film Institute top 250 movies of all time list or something, and I've watched like maybe 80 of the 250. So I have to go through those eventually.
Good for you.
It's just a way of like tracking things.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? I get it, but I'm not sure it's good for you. Sometimes I wonder because like I do lists on Discogs too. I'm like, is this like
Healthy?
a healthy thing that I'm doing now? Like that I have like lists from like their particular labels that I collect, that I'll keep a list of what I have from that label, or I have a list of 12-inch singles, which were kind of a thing mostly in the late 80s, early 90s, so it's like kind of my sweet spot. But yeah, I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying, like, I have the same tendencies with different things, but I do wonder sometimes, is this...
So that actually, I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm not going to get defensive as much as I want to get defensive about it, but...
I'm in the same boat.
So that leads me to the next topic I wanted to talk about. Do you find that using these apps affects your habits, your media consumption habits?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Without a doubt. Like I said earlier, like, especially on Goodreads, certain books I'll just read because, like, I'll see, like, 5 people here are reading them. Like, I think it was The Teacher by Frida McFadden last year. Like, I think at least 7 people here read the book and they all thought it was so good. I really had no interest in reading it, but I'm like, you know what? I want to, like, be, like, a part of it, you know? So, like, I read it, and I was like, why did I just waste a week, like, having to read this book that really, like, wasn't that good for me? Like, it just wasn't really, you know, for me. But Letterboxd, especially last year, I felt like, oh, like, I didn't really, like, watch a lot this week, so let me make sure next week I watch, you know, 4 more movies, you know, something like that. This year I'm kind of just like, whatever I watch. Like, I think I've only watched this year like 3 things, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, whatever I watch, and that's it. Like, I'm trying to be like a little more chill with it, you know?
Yeah, I get it. What about you, Peter?
I would say for Goodreads and Letterboxd it does, because, like, I'll Letterboxd, like I said, I'll get recommendations from you. I only follow like 3 or 4 people on Letterboxd, and Goodreads, I'll, you know, certain people that I know have a lot of crossover and interest with me. Sometimes I'll add to my list, but if Discogs, no, I'm like so deep into like my genres and my certain things that I collect that I barely even notice what. Discogs isn't a very social thing. Like, you don't get like updates when people buy a new record or anything like that. I mean, you can if you friend them, but it's not a big part of it.
Yeah, Discogs, I have a Discogs account, but I use it just for like cataloging what I own, my vinyl collection, and I'm just going to sit on it. Like, I'm not like actively trading vinyl or anything. I'm basically used it to find out the value of my collection, and then that's it. It's just sitting there dormant.
Same here, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've already admitted, like, it obviously affects what my habits as well. Not my reading. My reading, I find, like, I think, like, I don't read socially. I read very personally. So, like, I read what I want to read. But movie watching, obviously, it does. I've already admitted as much in this episode. But I have my lists, but like, my movie habit and movie watching habits is I hardly ever rewatch a movie. Like, there's maybe a handful of movies I'll rewatch every year. Alien, It's a Wonderful Life. That's about it. Yeah. But I'm just constantly trying to, like, watch new stuff, like, all the time. So, like, these lists that I mentioned, like, it's a nice way of, like, kind of, like, keeping track of stuff I haven't seen that I, like, you know, like, if I think, like, oh, yeah, that movie sounds good, like, I'll add it to, like, one of my lists. And I'll be like, oh. So it's, like, it's nice having, like, a queue that I can, because I'm never going to stop watching movies.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to be rewatching stuff, I need new stuff to be, you know, feeding the beast.
I feel like watching movies and TV shows that, like, other people are watching is obviously a lot more common, because if you're out with your friends and you're like, oh, did you happen to watch that movie? Did you happen to watch last week's episode of, you know, whatever? Like, it's a little more common to kind of maybe, like, watch something that you may not typically want to watch just because everyone else is watching it. But then sometimes that can be good, because then you're pleasantly surprised and you end up really getting into something that you didn't think you would, you know? I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, this has been like not a problem, but this has been like a theme in my entire life. Like, I don't read or watch or anything socially. Like, I just do it for my own pleasure. Yeah. So, like, even going back to, like, middle school, like, I wasn't watching the Disney shows that everyone was watching. Like, I was watching, like, Sgt. Pepper's, like, over and over again, or, like, whatever, Monty Python, and, like, nobody else was watching that. I was just watching it because I wanted to watch it, and, you know, I missed out on a lot of conversations that way, but, you know, there's positives and negatives.
For sure, definitely.
I mean, but we talk about, like, movies we watch and stuff on desk and everything, so...
Yeah, but that's when you step into my world.
Yeah. It's been my world, too. Well, I think it's interesting, too, because there's definitely an element that I see, especially with me and Alex, that there's sort of a I don't know, OCD sort of checking things off a list. I don't know Sean as well, so there's like a tendency to need to track things that I think is interesting, and I'm not a psychologist or anything.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's interesting. Like, we're all in the library world, so like, is that like because we're all librarians or librarian adjacent that like we have like categorizing, organizing gene in us?
Probably.
Or is it just, does everyone have this? Because like, I feel like these apps are kind of fueling that that compulsion to like have to check things off a list, or like the social pressure of reading like whatever's popular, or all this stuff.
I think part of it too is like you're kind of curating your personality in a way where people can see, this is the book I like, or these are the movies I like, or these are the I think there's an element to that is true of all social media, but like I think with certain types of people, librarians in particular, a big part of your identity is the media that you consume,
right?
And so it's a way of like publicly presenting yourself in a way.
And like, it's cool, like on Letterboxd, when you go onto someone's page and you can pick like your top 4 films, and it's like kind of the first thing you see when you go on someone's page. And I feel like, just because I've been like a movie person since like I could see, I feel like it tells a lot about a person sometimes, and you can kind of get like a feel for them. Because then if like you see someone, like if I have like friends of mine that are on there, but we don't really talk about movies, and then I see that we share one of the same like first 4 movies, you're like, oh wow, like I never knew that. So it's just kind of like a way to read into someone a bit.
That is a nice feature of Letterboxd. I like that like little snippet of like, these are my favorite 4 movies of all time, and you can learn a lot about somebody from that.
Like I wish Goodreads had that. Like maybe
it
not.
Does have that. Well, you can have a favorite shelf and it shows it on your profile, but I don't think
But that's just like another
people
list.
go to your profile as much as Goodreads. So. It's not like
on Letterboxd, it's like boom, like it's the first thing you see.
Yeah. Oh, no way. Huh. I'm learning so much today. I really am.
Going back to what you were saying, Peter, like it is, a reflection of your personality, or like how you're trying to define yourself, and that's going back to like decades, like that's kind of how it's always been. Like, I'm a flower power person, or like whatever. Like,
or used to be like your record collection, someone you would flip through, or the books that you have on your shelf.
But now like the apps and the internet have like put that everything in hyperdrive. Like now it's like this, like you have like a digital footprint of this is who you are. So you have to like curate that in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I mean, we could do a whole nother episode on book talk and bookstagram and all that. Like that's like what we're talking about here for these apps, but like to a whole nother degree,
for sure,
where it's like it really is like a persona that you're creating, whereas like these apps, you're just kind of like in the sea of everybody's kind of logging stuff. You know what I mean? So like, while we're staying on the topic of like how this kind of affects your reading and watching habits, do you use these apps, or do you personally just like, do you set yearly goals for yourself? Like, do you say like, this year I'm going to read 50 books, or anything like that, or this year I'm going to try to read more of this?
I don't. I always find that strange that like, why are you like setting a goal? Like, I read as many books as I feel like reading, like I'm not. I do find because I'll look at my stats on Goodreads at the end of the year, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't read as many books this year. And it does kind of motivate me to read more, like, but just like in a personal, like, I want to read more books than I did last year kind of thing. But
I've never been a bottom shelf that you need to clear.
Like, I've never been like this is my goal number or whatever.
Yeah, like Goodreads, I know like in the beginning of the year, like you can set your like goal. So like I always set the goal. I think I've only met it like once, maybe twice, and I've had the app since like 2019. I think like last year I just had a lot more time on my hands, so I was like, I remember like for Letterboxd, like last year I said in January I was gonna watch a film, like one film a day for the entire month, because like I've never done that before. I had the time to do it, and I did it, and I'm like, okay, now what? I felt like weirdly proud in the moment, but then afterwards I'm like, that's kind of pathetic, but it's fine. So definitely like, and then Goodreads too. I was like, oh, I set my challenge for like 70 books or something like that. I'm like, it's a lot. Like I'm gonna be able to get through this, like whatever. And then there were times where I was in like such like a slump to read, and I was just like, I'm not gonna meet it. But then I did. But this year, I think I'm just gonna read and watch whatever I do, and then that's kind of it.
Yeah, I do set movie sort of goals. I'll have like a challenge I'll set for myself. Like last year was the Rolling Stone top 150 sci-fi movies. So that was like I have a whole year to watch the movies that I haven't seen from this list, and I'll usually accomplish that in like 4 months, and then I'll have to come up with a new challenge. But as far as reading goes, like I already talked about this, like I really do truly try to read for pleasure. Like I feel like if you start setting goals for yourself, it becomes a chore, or even worse, you can start tailoring what you're reading to try to meet that goal. Like I'm going to start reading some middle grade books to catch up on my quota. It's
true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like reading is just such a personal one-on-one thing, and you're spending so much time with a book. Like, why would you want it to feel like a chore?
Yeah, it never makes sense to me to have a number goal. I don't know if you'll cover this, but I was going to say there's another reason that I use some of these apps, particularly Letterboxd and Discogs, and I have a feeling you guys might too. Like when you're watching like so many movies, sometimes it's hard to remember which ones you've seen already.
Yeah.
So if I can look at my watch list, I'm like, oh, I've already seen this. Or like sometimes I'll be at a record store and I'm like, do I have this already? I'll look on my Discogs and it's a way to see, like to keep track of, also to remember what you've already seen or bought.
That happens to me all the time.
Like a memory aid.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this kind of goes along with that, but like, I know all of these apps have like, well, maybe not Discogs, but like a TBR list or in Letterboxd, they call it a watch list, things that you want to watch or read.
Discogs has a want list.
They do a want list, okay, because it has a marketplace, so you'd be buying it. So I guess like the primary driver for me signing up for these apps are for my TBR, to manage my TBR list, honestly. My Storygraph TBR list is probably like 80 books or so. My Letterboxd watch list is probably around 80 as well. I've been good about checking things off my Letterboxd list. That's actually my goal for 2025, is to cut down my TB watch list in half. That's my goal.
Okay.
Which is harder than it sounds because a lot of it is like old foreign films, which like you have to be in a certain frame of mind to get into. But I feel like I can do it. What about you? Do you use them for your TBR lists, your to-watch lists?
My watch list, if I see something I want to watch at some point, I'll just throw it on there. And then sometimes like if I'm bored and I don't know what I'm in the mood to watch or whatever, I'll kind of like browse through there. It helps sometimes. Like sometimes if I know I'm going to have some time, like I will go through there and find some movies that I'll then put on hold through here. So then, like, they'll all kind of, like, come in and everyone in circle be like, all right, Sean's in, like, his war mode. Or, because it'll be, like, 10 or 12 films all about that. And then Goodreads, yeah, I mean, definitely. Because otherwise, I would have to, like, manually search up, like, books every time. It's kind of just nice to kind of, like, just scroll through there, see a book that I added in, like, 2020. And be like, oh, yeah, all right. Now it can be this one. Just kind of chill with it.
So what about you, Peter?
I would say that's the primary reason I do all of them. There's my compulsion to keep track of things, and then it's also like if I'm about to finish a book, I'll go right to my TBR list on Goodreads and decide what do I want to read next, and if I've got some money, I want to buy some records, I'll go to my want list and scroll through it. And same thing with Letterboxd. That I would say that especially with Letterboxd, that's the primary reason I use it. Is to keep track of movies I want to see.
Sure. Yeah, the deluge of books and movies is overwhelming at times. So it's nice to like have a way of like tracking, like, okay, at some point I'll get to this. Because I don't read like new fiction too much. I usually get to it like 2 or 3 years down the line, but it's nice to like bookmark it and be like, this is one to get eventually.
Yeah.
Sure. Sometimes I'll put on my Goodreads, like in the review, like why I added it to the list, or like who recommended it or whatever.
Oh, nice.
They have that feature in Letterboxd, but I hardly ever use it. Like the notes, like you can like add a note to a.
And essentially, in Goodreads, I'm just writing a review of a book I haven't read. That's where I heard about it, so they don't really have a feature for it. Yeah.
All right, I think we've covered media tracking apps. Yeah, this has
Definitely.
been a fun conversation, and yeah, thank you both for being on and
Thank you.
divulging your habits.
For sure. Thank you.
I don't think
Thanks
anyone's
for having us.
quite as depraved as I am, though.
Look at my Discogs, you might be.
Okay, good. Everyone has their
you
vice.
feel sane, maybe.
Exactly.
Well, that's all we got for this episode.
right.
Thanks again, and listeners, we'll check you next time between the shelves.
Bye.